I think that's enough, yeah?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna get another one.
Not being it's enough. 5 tattoos is a lot.
If I want to, I will.
I will not allow that.
You didn't even know how many I had, so if I want one, I'm gonna get one.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 13, Episode 1. And before we get started, let me just say that I thought it was a solid premiere. I enjoyed it. I thought that it gave us the right amount of drama from the start. I like that Dorit is activated this season. In her confessional, she's showing us more of her personality, and it's giving us that old Dorit when she first got on the show when she was hungry. And that's what I want to see, because I've said it before, I've been feeling like Dorit has been coasting for several seasons. It's nice to see Dorit clocking in for work. And honestly, it feels like we are entering into a new era since Rinna's gone. I think that Rinna was such a dark cloud over this franchise. So the fact that she's gone, now we can finally get some fun. Hopefully, knock on wood. But I have high hopes for Beverly Hills. Again, I'm liking where the storylines are going. Miss Kyle Richards, you're already trying my patience. First episode in and you are just already wearing me out. Erika Jayne, you as well. I'm not here for this Erika Jayne rebrand, especially after she showed her behind for the last several seasons. I'm not here for it. I think that Erika has a very nasty spirit, and I just don't think that even if she does try to be warm and sweet, I'm just not buying it. But guys, with all that being said, let's just get right on into it, because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. So we open up the episode with Dorit and PK, and let me just say this quickly, I am loving Dorit's new look. I think that the darker hair suits her so well. She looks so good. She's always been a pretty woman, but I feel like the dark hair is really fitting. I know on Watch What Happens Live, Kyle and Teddy both said that they miss Dorit's blonde. But for me, I think that the dark hair needs to stay for a while, because I felt like, yes, the blonde looks good on her, but there's something about this dark hair Dorit. Like, I'm here for it. Dorit, keep this look for a while, because I love it. You look amazing. So we see that Dorit has some guests, and she has a spiritual healer named Eagle Woman over, and Eagle Woman has her apprentice with her, and her apprentice's name is Blue Raven. Now, I already knew that when PK opened that door, he was about to be shading, and that's of course what he did. He's like, Eagle Woman, is that your real name? I was just like, PK, if you don't go in the next room and finish eating your chips. Like, don't sit up here and embarrass your wife like that. Dorit was like, PK, please. She already knew that he was about to clown, because we know that PK has that dry humor and he really does put his foot in his mouth. So I was also nervous for what he was about to say. I just said, PK, leave it alone. If this woman said that her name is Eagle Woman, then her name is Eagle Woman. Like, don't. So anyhow, they all sit down, and Dorit says that her and her friends had a really rough year last year, and she wants to bring them together on a retreat and get some spiritual healing. Of course, you have PK over at the side. He's like, well, good luck with that, because this group, that's not what they're about. So now Eagle Woman says that she wants to take them all on a vision quest, and that's going to be her way to get them all to move forward and come back together as a group. And may I be honest, I'm getting a bit tired of every single franchise going on a spiritual retreat to mend the group, because nothing ever works out. We've seen them all get shamans and go to sound baths in pretty much every other franchise, and it's not working. So I don't know why Dorit thinks that her idea to have this retreat with Eagle Woman and Blue Raven is going to bring them together, but again, I digress. So now it's the day of the retreat. Nobody knows what to expect, but they're all getting full glam. So we see Dorit arrive to the retreat first. Now we see Kyle arrive next, and she says that she's a bit nervous to see everybody, because last year she was really hurt by some of the ladies in this group, and she feels like her relationships with everybody has changed. Now, one thing that I don't like about Kyle, Kyle always acts like she's the victim. Also, Kyle, I feel like you're always mad at the wrong people. You need to focus your attention on Erika and Rinna. They're the ones who were trying to take down you and your sister last year, so I don't know why you're mad at the majority of the group. It's just really weird to me. I feel like Kyle always wants to paint herself out to be the victim. It's always what somebody's doing to her, not what she's done to other people. And the way Kyle has been so nasty to Garcelle and Sutton, I don't have any sympathy for Kyle, so I could care less about how she feels being around this group. So now we see Sutton and Garcelle arrive. Garcelle had me screaming. She was like, honestly, I was not expecting this to be our first meetup as a group. I thought that we would all meet up for some drinks at a lounge somewhere, but okay. And same, I would have been skeptical about this whole thing too, but you guys are on a show. You need to make it interesting. So here you guys are at this spiritual retreat trying to make up and be friends. So anyhow, we see Sutton talking about she just bought a horse in the Netherlands. She's like, oh my gosh, I just love him. He can even pull a carriage. Erika really pissed me off when she walked in. She's talking about she knows that she was vicious last year, but she did it because she was protecting herself. And let me just stop you right now, because there's a difference between protecting yourself and being a complete asshole. And last year, Erika, you were an asshole. Screaming at Crystal, screaming at Garcelle and Sutton, cursing them all out because they had questions about your legal situation. And let's just be so for real, because you guys get it so twisted. Y'all sign up to make all this money on a hot reality show, but then you get upset when your tea is spilled and people have questions and they want to talk about it. You can't have it both ways. If you don't want to talk about what's going on with you and your soon-to-be ex-husband, Tom Girardi, then get off the show. But you can't have all this mess going on in your life and not want to share it, and then you want to curse folks out because they have a few questions. That's not how this works. And it's just so funny to see Erika try to get sympathy when she was like, I'm going into this group like a man with no island. My friend is gone. We all know that she's talking about Rinna. If we're being honest, Erika, we also wanted you off this show along with Rinna. Second of all, not one person feels sorry for you that you no longer have Rinna by your side. And shout out to production for being super petty and showing us the email that Rinna sent out when we all found out the news that she would no longer be on the show. I said I loved every bit of it. I just know that Rinna has to be seething at home at the fact that she is off this show that she low-key thought she made. The same way you did that to Lisa Vanderpump, sis, here's your karma, because now look at you, you're fired. You're sitting up there watching on the couch. Now, when Erika walked in, they're all talking about how skinny she is, and you have Erika lying, saying that she's on really good hormones. And the way they all looked at her, especially Dorit had me in tears. She was like, hormones? Is that spelled like Ozempic? Dorit is activated. I am here for the shade. And the fact that Dorit has a bone to pick with Erika anyway, she really does not want to hear anything that Erika has to say. I said, I love it. I said, this might be a turning point where I actually become a Dorit stan. Because again, I told y'all, Dorit was really hitting on all cylinders for me. This episode, her personality is coming back to life. I said, come on, Dorit. But Erika, you sound really dumb trying to say that you're on hormones. Just be honest. You're on Ozempic. It's okay. 95% of all the housewives are on Ozempic. Just come clean about it. There's no need to lie. So now it's time for the spiritual healing to start. Eagle Woman comes out. She's singing and chanting. Garcelle took me out. She was like, what the hell? So they all sit down. Eagle Woman passes them some sage tea. And now here's where the mess really kicks off. Dorit starts it off by saying that they had a rough year, but the goal for today is to move forward and to just come together as friends. So now Dorit goes on to say that she wants to address Erika because she's upset with Erika for what happened at last year's BravoCon. Now we all know what happened last year at BravoCon. Andy asked Erika to name who she thought would be heading for a divorce on her cast, and she said Dorit and PK. Now, when that incident happened, I said that's going to be a major storyline for Dorit this season and Erika, and I definitely see their friendship being altered. Because Erika and Dorit used to be really close, but I said, yeah, when that happened, I definitely know that Dorit and PK were probably pissed about that. So Dorit goes on to say that she was deeply hurt by Erika and what Erika did was mean-spirited and just not right. Now, one thing about Erika has a really hard time, in my opinion, owning up to what she does and just apologizing. There's always this justification for what she did, because she gave this long-winded answer. She was like, look, they asked me a shady question. I didn't want to answer it, but there was a live audience and I'm a performer, I'm a showman, so I had to give the people what they wanted. And Erika, just admit that you wanted to be messy. Because you know good and damn well you could have said, Andy, I don't want to answer that. I'm going to plead the fifth. Ask me another question, but I'm not going to answer that because I do have friends on this cast and that's not right to say. That's what any decent person would have said. So miss me with all that, oh, I'm a showman, I had to give the folks what they wanted. You did that for a moment and you just want to drum up some drama. That's what it is. But again, don't sit up here and pee on my leg and tell me that it's raining talking about, oh, I'm a showman, I had to give the folks what they wanted. Like, that's BS to me. I'm sorry. And it's so funny to me because when Erika feels like she's been wronged or slighted, she wants to curse folks out and she's demanding an apology. But when she's called out for her BS, she has all these excuses and all these answers and reasons for why she did what she did. And I loved how Dorit was not letting up. Dorit was like, I don't care, Erika. That's not being a showman. That's being a bitch. And I thought that you would just apologize. I'm just shocked to see you double down on this and try to justify why you said what you said. And Dorit was absolutely correct when she said that Erika definitely delivered that answer like she wanted the attention, and she did want the attention. That was purposely done. Make no mistake about that. So you have Erika turning this back on Dorit. And she says, again, it was a shady question and I gave a shady answer. And Dorit, is your marriage to PK strong? And I said, baby, that's not the point. The point is you were wrong and you need to apologize. And that was more shade, in my opinion, for Erika to even ask that question, because you're clearly implying that you've heard something and you don't think that their marriage is strong. Because why can't you just apologize? Now, I do want to add that on Wednesday night, there were reports coming out via In Touch Weekly that allegedly Dorit and PK are now separated. So I don't know what's going on, because they gave a statement to People magazine saying that it's not true. So I don't know what to believe, but it looks like there is some trouble in paradise. I wouldn't be surprised. I never saw this chemistry or connection between Dorit and PK, if I'm being honest, but that's another story for another day. But all in all, I felt like Erika was still hinting at the fact that she does not believe that Dorit and PK have a strong marriage. Because why would you ask that? And Dorit didn't do herself any favors because she started stuttering. She was like, yeah, like our marriage is strong. We're great. And I said, girl, are you? And you want to talk about somebody else who's activated this season? Sutton. Because Sutton was in her confessional and she said, now, I heard some tea that when PK got his DUI last year, there was allegedly another woman in the car. So I'm just telling you what I heard in these Beverly Hills streets. And you know what's funny? When he did get that DUI last year, that thought crossed my mind. I said, I wonder if there was another woman in the car and that's why he's really embarrassed about it, because that tea is going to come out. But I did watch What Happens Live when Kyle and Teddy were on, and Teddy said that she checked the police reports and it stated that PK was in the car by himself and that Sutton was not telling the truth. So now Erika gives this soliloquy about how the last 2 years of her life have been so complicated and so rough, but they've all hurt each other's feelings. And I said, girl, what kind of pseudo apology is this? And stop trying to drag everybody else in it. Dorit is calling you out, so you saying that we've all hurt each other before, that's not the topic at hand. Just apologize. I don't know why it's so hard for her to do that. So at this point, Erika finally gives the weakest apology I've ever heard, and she says, as your friend, I would like to apologize if I've been vicious or unkind. And so she starts sobbing. Did anybody notice that Erika was straining to get those tears out? She got 2 little tears out. I said, girl, try again. I mean, she was doing her damnedest to get some sympathy. And I guess it worked on Kyle. You have Kyle jumping out of her seat, running over to give her a hug. I said, for what? Erika is not the victim. And it's annoying how Kyle falls for this. I will always be here for Garcelle, giving a side eye. She said, now, we don't ever see Erika ever emotional. I'm not really buying this, but I will give her a chance. And I said, Garcelle, I don't buy this either because it's all an act. It's all fake. Erika's trying to do damage control because the vitriol she got from the fans, all the backlash, so now she wants to soften her image and act like she cares when she doesn't. And Garcelle, I would tread real lightly with Erika because the way she was nasty with you last season, I didn't forget that. So I don't think I'd be talking about any second chance or I want to try it out and see how she is this year. I don't think so. She was over there with Lisa Rinna last season, throwing your book in the trash, laughing about it. Like, girl, there wouldn't be any forgiveness on my end. You guys know me. I hold a grudge, and I don't feel any ways about it. So for me, I would not be talking about, oh, well, I'll give her a chance. No, there are no more chances. At the very least, Erika would get a hello and a goodbye. That's it. And that's a stretch, because y'all know me. I will full-blown ignore you and not think anything about it. But I just said, Garcelle, I would tread lightly when it comes to trying to get back into any sort of friendship with Erika. So Kyle goes next, and here's where I was really pissed. Kyle is already emotional. She brings up all the drama that took place last year regarding her and her sister Kathy. She says that she felt like she was left to deal with this by herself, and she felt like she was waiting for somebody to come and comfort her, and nobody did. Now, of course, she's talking about what happened at the reunion when she was sitting there sobbing, and nobody got up to comfort her. And I said, now, hold on, Kyle, because if I remember correctly, there was a point in the reunion where you and Kathy were talking, you were crying, and Dorit had tried to interject to try to console you, and you snapped at Dorit. You were like, Dorit, I don't want to hear it, stay out of it. It's between me and my sister, you're not involved in this. And Dorit said, okay, well, let me shut my mouth then. So you don't get to have it both ways. Either you want people to be by your side and comfort you and give their opinion, or you don't. But you don't get to snap at people and then say, well, I wish that you were there for me. I was like, girl, what's going on? And for Kyle to add that she expected more from Sutton and Dorit, Kyle, let me check you again, because you really tried it. Sutton has taken so much abuse from you over the past few years. You have not been a good friend to her. You have dogged that woman out several times. And I will not forget how you did her at Garcel's birthday party last season. When you grabbed her, yoked her up, you left a bruise on her arm, and you pretty much told her that she was being self-centered when Sutton told her story about how she had a miscarriage when she was trying to relate to Diana. Remember that? You have been so nasty and so vile towards Sutton. So for you to even twist your mouth to say you're upset with Sutton and you expected more from her as your friend, you haven't been a friend to Sutton. I'm just so sick and tired of folks wanting this one-sided loyalty where they feel like they can treat you like trash, but yet they want you to be at their beck and call when they need you. That's not how this works, Kyle. If you want a friend, you have to be a friend. How dare you? I said the absolute audacity. And that's why I've never taken to Kyle, because Kyle loves to act like she's the victim in every single circumstance. So Kyle goes on to add that she feels a type of way because Sutton goes to a lot of parties, she's social, and her and Kathy are still cool, and she wants to be invited to all of Kathy Hilton's parties. Now, I said, Kyle, the same way that you're friends with people who don't like Sutton, i.e. Erika and Rinna, how do you have the audacity to be upset that Sutton is friends with your sister who you're not speaking to? I feel like all is fair because you were really good friends with folks who were always dogging out Sutton, calling her a see you next Tuesday. It was all fun and games, but now when you get a taste of your own medicine, now it's not so fun. And I'm really petty because if I were Sutton, I'd be calling up Kathy Hilton for lunch all the time. Like, oh yeah, girl, me and your sister were out here and there. I would be that petty because you can't dictate to me who I can hang out with when you've been hanging out with my enemies for years. Sutton doesn't owe you anything. You're lucky that she even still talks to you, if I'm being honest. So now Garcelle chimes in and she says, Kyle, I felt for you in that moment, but I'm also confused by you because why aren't you mad at the people who started all this drama between you and your sister in the first place? I feel like you're mad at the wrong people. And I agree too. I also feel like Kyle is one of those people where she wants to invite you into her drama, but the minute that you say something that she doesn't want to hear, then she wants to snap at you. If you don't want their opinions about what's going on in your family, then leave them out of it. But you don't get to bring them in and involve them in all this family drama and then get mad when they have an opinion and it's not the opinion that favors you. So now you have Kyle getting upset. She's like, what's not clicking? I don't understand why Garcelle doesn't get it. I said, Garcelle didn't say anything wrong. You're just upset that Garcelle's not kissing your ass and saying what you want to hear. You're mad at Sutton and Dorit when you need to be mad at Rinna and Erika. That's who you need to be mad at. Garcelle told no lies. So here goes Kyle crying yet again. And then she says that there are so many instances where Kathy will call her up, barking at her. And she says that there are a lot of times where Kathy would call her and she would have sheer panic. And even though she's a grown woman, it still affects her like she's a child. And honestly, Kyle, you need to go to therapy for that because I don't care how old somebody is. You're not going to sit up here and bark at me. Like, that's not happening. And the fact that you've accepted that behavior for all these decades, that says more about you than it does about Kathy. Because I would have checked Kathy a long time ago. And the fact that you haven't been able to assert yourself, that's a problem. Again, I think that you need to really get into some counseling. You guys all do, because your whole family dynamic has been dysfunctional since the beginning. And if you read The House of Hilton like I did, then you know that their entire childhood, their upbringing was a hot mess. And their mother, Big Kathy, a piece of work, allegedly. Now, Eagle Woman interjects. You could tell she was like, look, let's keep it cute. Let's not start yelling or cursing each other out. So she says, let's all take a deep breath. And now Sutton interjects and says, honestly, guys, I think that we can all do better as friends and just try a bit harder as a collective to move forward. And now we see them get up and have a group hug. Now, out of all of these healing exercises and sessions that we've seen across all the franchises, I think that this one might have been the most successful one. It seemed like there was a bit of breakthrough between the women. So I guess that's a plus. So Dorit, I'm going to give you a few points for this retreat because it looks like it actually was a success. And that's shocking. So now we jump to the next scene with Sutton at her store. And she's having a cute little lunch with her best friend, Jennifer Tilly. And I think that her friendship with Jennifer Tilly is so cute. It was funny when she was talking about they travel all the time together and how I think one time they were on a flight going to Paris and she had accidentally put Jennifer Tilly's salted caramels in her ears. She thought that they were earplugs. I was like, Sutton, how do you mistake salted caramels for earplugs? Sutton is too much. So now they start talking about life. Sutton says that she can't believe that her store's been open for 4 years. And Jennifer Tilly tells her that it's her time now. She spent 20 years being a wife and a mom, and now it's time to focus on herself. So Sutton reveals a motivation for why she wants to be successful, and she says that she wants to rub it in her ex-husband's face and show him that she can do it. Now, knowing some of the backstory between Sutton and her ex-husband, the way he divorced her was messed up. Sutton had revealed that her ex-husband had filed for divorce without her knowing, and he served her the divorce papers on her birthday. Now, what kind of sick mind would do that? You want to talk about how evil that is? Just completely blindsided. Like, that's just so cruel. Like, I would have slapped him for that. Like, I can't believe you would do that. You couldn't wait. You had to do this on my birthday. Like, that's just so messed up. But just knowing all that, I'm not surprised that Sutton has these lingering feelings. But Sutton goes on to say that when they first got married, they were on equal footing. They both worked. Then when she got pregnant, he was like, nope, I don't want you to work. You're going to be a stay-at-home mom, and here's your allowance. So she says that as the years went on, she would find herself without an allowance. He would take it away from her, and she noticed that her power diminished. Now, let me just say this. I think it is so evil of men who want to financially abuse their spouses, because what's wrong with you? You have your wife at home being a stay-at-home mom, which is a very hard and thankless job, and you want to play these stupid games? If I were Sutton, I would have gone upside his head with something, because we're not going to play this. Either you're going to give me the money, or I'm going to take out a few credit cards and do what I have to do. But that's not happening. And I wonder if he's ever apologized to her for that. I wonder how their kids view him, because the fact that he put her through so much hell, that's so evil. Like, there's no other word to say. Why would you do that to your wife? Like, what was the reason? You just want to be an asshole just because? And I hope her ex-husband feels so dumb every time he sees her on a billboard, he sees her in the commercials for this show. I'm really glad that Sutton is doing it for herself, and she has some fame, some notoriety, some money. Like, I'm just happy that she's thriving despite what he tried to pull. And when we found out that her spousal support is $300,000 a month, which equals $3.6 million a year, I said, come the F through.
Bling, bling, bling. Bitches is mad.
And I loved how Sutton said that she earned every dime in that marriage. I said, girl, yes, you did. The fact that this man was playing around with your allowance, you deserve everything and then some. But I have to say, Sutton can't feel too sorry for herself, because there are a lot of women who build with men and get left with nothing. The fact that she built with him and she actually walked away with millions in the bank, she cannot feel too sad. But I loved how Sutton said that she wants to show her daughter what being financially independent looks like, and that's important. And then Sutton reveals that she really wants her ex-husband to say that she is smart and capable. Now, Sutton, I get it, but at the very end of the day, there's a chance that your ex-husband might not ever give you your props. Whether or not he ever congratulates you on your success, you're still going to be fine. Don't let all this be contingent on your ex-husband finally giving you a compliment about how you are capable and smart. I feel like Sutton struggles with needing other people's validation. We see it with her and Kyle and her and Erika, her and Rinna when Rinna was on the show. And I want Sutton to get out of that. You have to do stuff for you, whether or not your enemies or people who are against you ever give you your props or your flowers. Do it for yourself first and foremost. And I'm talking to myself too, because sometimes I fall victim to that as well. Like, oh yeah, I'll show them. You know what I'm saying? But I just said, Sutton, at the very end of the day, your success is for you. Enjoy it. And don't pay that man any mind. I'm not going to hold you. I'm skipping over this Erika scene with her therapist. I don't care. I'm not here for this Erika Jane rebrand and listen to her go on and on about how these last 2 years were rough and it was complicated and, you know, how is she going to grieve Tom when he passes away? I'm not interested. So now we jump over to Dorit and Kyle having dinner at Dorit's house, and we find out that Kyle has not had alcohol for the past 7 months. She says that she gave it up because it wasn't serving her mentally or spiritually, and she feels great. So Dorit says that she's happy to see Kyle in a great place, and she goes on to say that while last year was rough, she is happy that Kyle is on the other side of things. So Kyle agrees, and she says that she actually saw Kathy at Sutton's Christmas party and things were fine, but she says that going forward, she's not allowing anybody to disrespect her. Then she goes on to add that her sister Kathy is used to people allowing her to get away with bad behavior and saying whatever she wants to say. And she's no longer allowing it, and enough is enough. Now, Kyle, I think that it is so interesting that this argument has you doing a complete 180 in terms to how you relate with your sister now. Because you guys have gotten into so many heated arguments throughout the decades, and it's so funny that for some reason this particular incident was the one that broke the camel's back. And I really want Kyle to stop acting like such a saint, because Miss Mamas, we saw you in season 1 when you outed Kim for being an alcoholic and paying all her bills in the finale. So don't act like you haven't had your moments either, because you have. Again, I'm just over Kyle and this whole woe is me and I'm always the victim. She's not. So Dorit says, the same way that you had a hard year, so did I. So she goes on to say that with the robbery that happened last year, she has PTSD, and it was really hard with her and PK because they just weren't connecting. And PK spent a lot of time in London while she was here in LA, and she really needed him. So now Dorit goes on to say that she had doubts sometimes that her and PK would make it. And like I just said earlier on in this recap, I've always had my doubts about her and PK's marriage. I've always felt like it was shaky. I never thought that they were on solid ground. So Kyle seems unusually calm, and she's like, well, life happens. I understand. You either go your separate ways or you make it work. But yeah, I get it. We've all been there. So Dorit says, yeah, it's completely normal. It's not like he cheated or something. It's just that we weren't connecting. Now, watching Dorit's body language during this scene, I got the impression that she's checked out of this marriage, and it felt like she was trying to soft launch a separation or a divorce, and she was trying to feel out Kyle and get her opinion on it. That's the impression that I got, but it's clear that Dorit's not really happy in this marriage, and she probably wants out. Now, we jump to this next scene with Garcelle hanging out with her sons, and I want to give you guys a quick disclaimer. I have so many thoughts about what went down, and I feel like if we do tussle in the comments, that's fine, but just hear me out. Garcelle says that she's been working in Atlanta on a new show, so she wants to get some quality time in with them. So Garcelle says, I just want to talk to you guys. I want to get your point of view on how you view things. Be open, be honest with me. And she wants to know, how do they feel about her working so much and always going back and forth? And mind you, her sons are twins, they're 15, and their names are Jax and Jade. So I forgot which one it was who said this. I think it was Jade. But he says that going back and forth between her and their dad's house sucks, and he feels like they were with their dad for a year. So Garcelle's like, it wasn't a year, it was only 3 weeks. So Garcelle goes on to say that when they were on FaceTime a while back, she noticed that he was upset with her, that she was gone for so long. Then she goes on to say that she feels guilty a lot of times, but she has to work. Then Garcelle says that she would like them to vocalize how they feel a bit more, especially when it comes to her going off for work. And she's like, I'm not saying that that would change my mind, but I would like to hear it. So now the same twin who voiced his complaints about she works so much, he doesn't like it, he goes on to say that he wants more freedom. Garcelle was confused. She was like, you get a lot of freedom as it is. So now Garcelle says that she feels like he doesn't want her to parent him. So he says, well, the time I needed a parent was 2 years ago. I don't need a parent right now. I learned how to do everything that I need to do. So Garcelle says that it feels like a knife to her chest hearing that, and she's upset. Now, here's my thing. 2 years ago was like the height of COVID, right? It was 2021. We were just getting out of the thick of things. People were still home a lot. So I'm sure that during that time, Garcelle was spending a lot of time with her boys, right? I'm glad that her sons are able to vocalize how they feel without judgment or without fear of being punished. But I felt like the one son was being a bit too hard on Garcelle, in my opinion, because you're saying this with a Burberry outfit on, and I'm like, if she didn't work so hard, you wouldn't have all the luxuries. And I know that money isn't everything, but it is important. And they do live in LA, where a lot of the kids that they're around are rich. And I'm sure that if Garcelle weren't working as much or at all, they'd be upset about that. They'd be complaining about how they don't have this, that, and the third. I don't know. I feel like, yes, I love the fact that they're able to express themselves, because I do feel like kids should be able to tell their truth and speak and say how they feel. Absolutely. But I do feel like her son was being a bit too hard. Just because she's your mom, she also deserves to be fulfilled and do what she loves as well. I don't know. I feel like, and my mom used to always say this, but she's like, a lot of times when you have kids, it's like you can't win, because if you stay home all the time, they'll be like, okay, mom, like, why are you here? Then if you work, they're upset about that too. So it's like, either way, it's like you're in a lose-lose situation. But I felt like, yes, I'm happy that he was able to get that off of his chest, but I do feel like he was being a bit too hard on Garcelle. You can tell that Garcelle's a great mom, and I'm not a parent as of yet, but I just felt like, give Garcelle a break. She's trying to secure the bag and make your life 10 times easier. And she does seem like a sweet mom. She seems affectionate. She's there for them. She loves them. She seems really warm. So I feel like you really have the whole package in terms of a mom. So I don't know how you could find complaints. But again, he's allowed to feel how he feels. His feelings are valid. But I still feel like, cut your mom some slack, because she is trying her best. And I felt like the other twin was like, I don't share these sentiments at all, mom. Like, I don't know what he's talking about, but over here, I'm good. So now we close out the episode with the last scene between Kyle and Mauricio. They're at home. Kyle's in a bad mood, and Mauricio's in his office. He's on a phone call trying to sort out his schedule for the upcoming months. And we see Kyle waiting for him to get off the phone because she wants to talk. So they start discussing their schedules. Mauricio says that he has to be in Portugal for a work event around the same time as Portia's spring break. So he's like, do you guys want to come so that we can make it a family vacation too? And Kyle says that she can't do it because she has other obligations. And I was just like, okay, sis. You can tell that they are really not happy, because any other time, Kyle would have been like, oh yeah, I'll rearrange some things. I'll move some things around. Like, I'll be there. Because we know how Kyle is. Kyle used to be very territorial over her husband. So Kyle goes on to say that her and Mauricio have had a very challenging year. And I want to know, what exactly was it that has them both at odds with each other? Like, I just want to know, was it cheating? Did he do something? Like, what is it? Because Kyle looks so disgusted with him in this scene. And the 13 years she's been on this show, she has always gushed over that man. So it was really weird watching her like this. So now Mauricio compliments Kyle. He's like, by the way, babe, you're looking amazing. You look great. You're in the gym all the time. You're eating clean. You look fantastic. So Kyle's like, thanks. Then she says that dealing with all these challenging things with her and her sister Kathy, then being disconnected with Mauricio, she had to let it out somehow, so she got in great shape. So now Mauricio spots one of Kyle's tattoos. He's like, how many tattoos do you have now? And she says, I have 5. So he's like, what? I thought it was 3. So she's going over all the tattoos. Then she says that she wants to have another one. So Mauricio was like, no, like, you need to stop. I don't want you to have any more tattoos. And Kyle was like, you can't tell me what to do. It's my body. Then she says, if Mauricio was paying attention to her body more, he would have known that she had 5 tattoos. I was like, well, damn. The way Kyle is trying to reinvent herself as this badass, I said, all right. So they're going back and forth about her getting another tattoo. And she says, you don't have a choice. It is what it is. I'm going to get one if I want one. And we already know that down the road, she does get another tattoo with her new alleged lover's initial on her wrist or whatever. But I just said, it's a hot mess. Kyle is trying to show Mauricio that she does not care about him. She has checked out. And usually Mauricio is always looking good. And in this scene, he just looked a mess. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. I said, what's going on? So Kyle says, look, I'm at the point in my life where I don't need to explain myself to anybody, including you. So Mauricio's like, look, I get that, but do it because you want to do it, not because you're trying to rebel. And that's what it felt like. It felt like Mauricio was talking to a rebellious teenager because I felt like Kyle's demeanor was off. It was clear that she's really trying to prove something to everybody. And it's like, Miss Mamas, calm down. But y'all, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Even though Kyle works my nerves, I really did feel bad for her in this moment because we've watched them be a happily married couple. And now to see them drifting apart, she looks like she can't stand him. He looks sad and depressed and defeated. Like, I don't know. I felt really sad. The fact that they have their daughters, they still have Portia in the house with them. She's what, 14, 15? I know this can't be easy for her, but I feel bad for them. I hope we get some more answers throughout the season of what exactly it was that went wrong between them, because I was just so confused watching them sitting there and they both look like they can't stand each other. And that's where we close out the episode. And y'all, I have to say, it was a solid premiere. I'm excited to see what's to come. I can't wait to be introduced to the newbie, Anne Marie. I know that she's coming on as Kyle's friend, and it looks like she's going to give us some drama as well. But y'all, that was my recap. I hope you guys enjoyed. And you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.